Brock Purdy, can you please teach me how to Dougie? Let's get it. Welcome to the Cayman's Island podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Cayman. Let me exhale, guys. Man, wow, what a game. In today's episode, we're going to be breaking down the 49ers 42-38 win. Big time win over the Chicago Bears. Now, I have to take a moment and give myself a little bit of credit. I did pick the 49ers to win this game by 4 points, but I picked the score to be 31-27. How dare I assume this offense wouldn't score 40 points again? Kyle, I'm sorry. Very sorry for that. Man, there's so much to get into. Let's jump right in. This was a wild game, a shootout, a gut check, another statement win for the San Francisco 49ers. And I think at this point we got to highlight Brock Purdy, and I'm going to do my absolute best, faithful, to keep this from being a Brock Purdy rant. Okay? But the man's making it hard. He's making it hard not to rant about him. Okay? Let's break this thing down. Brock finished this game with 303 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, a 118.6 passer rating, over 72% completions, over 9 yards per completion. And just to show off, because my man Brock is such a good, generous dude, he spotted the Bears a touchdown on the first play of the game. It did not start pretty, but after that moment, Brock was completely locked in. And I think what makes this performance so impressive, because you hear the noise, you know what's going on. My man Brock never gets any credit for anything. Last week, what he did on national television, having those 5 touchdowns and doing all that, I know he had a pick late. A lot of folks harped on that pick. Really just tried to nitpick and really find anything that they possibly could. The Colts aren't a playoff team. Can Brock do it in the height? Can he do it in the biggest moment against a playoff team? Like, guys, the dude has been in a Super Bowl in overtime. No offense, but this is a regular season game. This isn't rookie Brock Purdy in his first game at Tampa Bay against Tom Brady, where we don't... The man has proven he's a good quarterback. And it's... at this point, I really don't know what else the man's got to do other than win a Super Bowl. And I'm right there with you guys. Brock can have all these great regular season performances, and we got to bring another Lombardi home. I'm right there with you. But this whole Brock's being puffed up by all these Avengers and all this all-pro talent. Look, Trent Williams on the first play of the game got hurt. Did something to his hamstring, obviously some sort of pull. Could not go back in the game. He didn't have what people feel is the probably pound for pound, probably the best overall player or one of the top 3 overall players on the team. There was no George Kittle. And let's just call it what it is, and we'll dive into this a little bit later. The defense couldn't stop the Bears whatsoever. And we still were able to pull off a win in this game, and a lot of it had to do to once again playing situational football, containing the Bears' run game. They were eating us up in the pass game, but we were able to, in the biggest moments of the game, force a few 3-and-outs early, hold the Bears late in the game to a field goal, and then having that stand right there on 4th down at the end of the game. But man, Brock Purdy, with throwing the pick on the first play of the game, losing Trent Williams, no George Kittle, on the biggest stage, all the lights, Sunday Night Football, went out there and showed out again. And there's a lot in this game. Some great throws, some really good moments for Brock. But if I had to pick one highlight in particular that was just a wow moment, was when Brock rolled out to his left, evaded two defenders, should have been sacked twice, split these two defenders, stepped up, hits Kyle Juszczyk right there on the side of the end zone, man. And it's wow. That was one of those Patrick Mahomes light, like diet Patrick Mahomes plays, man, that we've come accustomed, especially in the 2023 season, became accustomed to see Brock doing. Honestly, on the regular. And now Brock's back to that level of confidence with no Deebo Samuel, no Brandon Ayuk, no George Kittle, no Trent Williams. I'll pose the question, faithful, and I'll pose the question to anybody else out there. What else you want to see from the guy to say he's not just a mid quarterback? I'm asking the question. Please feel free to comment. I'd love to know, what else does the man need to do for us to just say, okay, let's stop with the narrative and let's just give this man his flowers. He's a real good quarterback, guys. He just celebrated his 26th birthday a few days ago. Right now, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, so it's been a couple of days since the man's birthday. But I don't think Brock's going anywhere, guys. Unfortunately, the naysayers, the Brock haters out there, I know you thought that maybe this year Mac Jones was replacing Brock. The only thing that's happening to Mac Jones in the future is a trade to another team, guys. This man's not going anywhere. He's a franchise guy, and I'm proud to have this man being the face of the 49ers at quarterback. When you did that, Brock, when you did that little scramble around evading those two defenders, man, and you hit juice for that touchdown, man, get your dance on. You definitely deserved it. Another thing that it would be a shame if I didn't highlight how well CMC played tonight. Christian McCaffrey. He is absolutely the engine of this offense. He had consistent yardage, tough runs, key conversions, always available. When you need some stability, he's right there fighting for extra yards, doing what he needs to do. He had 23 carries, 140 yards on the ground, a touchdown, 6.1 yards per carry with no Trent Williams. Offensive line. Wow, guys. Wow. What a way to step up, man, when you lose a guy, a first ballot Hall of Famer like Trent Williams, man. Hats off. Hats off to that O-line, man. Hats off to Kyle Shanahan. I believe sincerely that Kyle is a home win away against the Seattle Seahawks to winning Coach of the Year. I know that the Patriots are doing phenomenal. Drake May's been great. I'm not taking anything at all away from that team over there in the AFC. But come on, man. Unless you're a 49ers fan, man, we got dudes playing at linebacker that most folks have not even heard of. And just to keep... I don't know if there's been a time where I've seen Kyle this much in his bag with what he has to work with. Man, Jake Tunges came in there and absolutely did a phenomenal job stepping in, making big catch after big catch, being an open target for Brock. If I'm not mistaken, he actually had the most targets tonight on offense. The man came in there and balled out again. I think there has to be a world where we have Tunges and Kittle on the field as passing threats at the same time. Now, with Trent going down, I don't know how much of that will be the case maybe against Seattle. But man, maybe come playoff time, we can get to see some of that. Like I said, big props to Jake Tunges, man. Ricky Pearsall had a big game tonight. I believe Ricky had 5 receptions, 85 yards. I believe he had the most yards. He did. He had the most yards receiving on the team in this game. It looked like he got banged up like on his first reception of the game. I was holding my breath, but he was able to come back in there and contribute in a very big way. If there were one thing, and this is me, it's the NFL, anything can happen, but if there's one thing that really upset me about the game, it's not even so much the defense and how much Caleb Williams was able to do almost anything and everything that he wanted to, how we couldn't stop. That really didn't bother me. What bothered me is that on the first play of the game, we came out there and tried to throw a slant to Juwan Jennings that was highly contested. I would have really liked to have tried to establish the run game on the first play of the game. And I know this is silly. I just think about a world where Kyle calls a handoff and Trent doesn't get hurt. Now I know that everything, the pace, the flow of the game, Brock throwing that pick six on the first play is what allowed Brock to drive right back down the field, get a score, calm himself down. Everything happened in the game based on the flow because of the events that transpired early on. But man, if we just call a handoff there and not try to throw a contested slant to Juwan Jennings, you have no Trent Williams injury. But like I said, who knows? The whole game could have been different from that point on. I have not watched any of the pressers. I didn't do any of that, so I don't know how bad Trent's injury is. I'm assuming he's going to need some scans and such to determine the severity. But I really think he will miss the Seattle game regardless, because you got to think longer picture here. You don't want to go out there and have him tweak it again when, if we beat Seattle, you're talking about possibly essentially 2-3 weeks of rest for whatever's ailing that hamstring. So I hope he can really get back out there. I'm very confident that the Niners will have George Kittle out there against the Seahawks. And guys, at this point, does it matter? And I know I may get beat up in the comments on this, but like, we've had so many injuries that I think the next man up mentality has become a culture. And so that's why you can have somebody like Trent Williams be out practically the entire game and the offense still put up 40-plus points. I think this is just where we're at. It's going to be a scenario where when we play Seattle, and this game has been flexed to prime time because of the matchup, and that doesn't surprise me at all. It makes complete sense. Can we outscore everybody we play? It's starting to look that way. Tonight, I think the defense was a bend but don't break defense. It just broke a whole lot. It was another game where the 49ers defense could not get a sack. And it's strange because several times Caleb had all the time in the world to throw. And when we would force him out of the pocket, it was quite strange because it almost seemed tonight a reversal. I was thinking that if I'm the Niners, I'd want to make him throw from the pocket just because of how low his completion percentage is. I think he was around 59% for this game completion percentage. But when we forced him out of the pocket, he was missing some throws. There was a couple of wide open throws that Caleb missed, like on the run, which was strange. So where Caleb kind of excelled tonight was really from the pocket. Like I say, he missed some wide open throws that really could have hurt the Niners when we made him scramble and roll out of the pocket. I'm not sure at this point, guys, what the Niners can do to help out in the pass rush. We absolutely got 8 up tonight when we tried to blitz. Upton Stout went out of this game with a concussion. He hit his head on the ground and came up a little wobbly, and I believe he's still in the protocol. Hopefully it didn't end up being something too severe. I want to say he's already maybe missed a game from some concussion symptoms already. I don't know if this is going to be a scenario where he's unable to go against the Seahawks. So that's something that we'll have to see. The secondary had some issues. There were a few missed assignments. I think way too many explosives were given up. But does any of that matter when you are able to say that on the final drive of the game, in the must-have-it moment, again, in the must-have-it moment, the defense was able to step up, force Caleb out of the pocket, and the ball bounced in the end zone. Again, what a win. What a win. This is something that can, these are the types of wins that can propel a team to greatness. This is a type of win that can propel, seriously, the 49ers to a Super Bowl. I have always curbed my expectations, even with us, even with the Niners putting up 40 points like we breathe air, right? Even with the whole 40 points thing, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, man, what's going to happen when we play the Rams? What's going to happen when we play a team that sticks with the run like the Seahawks? But these are types of statement wins, character building wins, hot streaks that a team can get on before the playoffs that can propel you into a Super Bowl. We are legitimately one win away from having a bye week in the playoffs, being the number one overall seed in the NFC. You hear the noise about Fred Warner possibly coming back in the playoffs. If anybody can do it, Fred can. And the guy is a Superman. It would not surprise me one bit if Fred Warner is in the NFC Championship game playing on the field. I heard some reporting that it would be more of a, he's on the field as like a symbolic gesture, like the first series of the game. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Fred Warner strikes me as the type of guy that if that dude gets on the field, Robert Saleh's going to have to go out there and grab him by the jersey and drag him off the field. Can you imagine the boost to that team? Forget the defense. Can you imagine the boost to the team that it would do to have a home NFC Championship game where Fred Warner comes out of that tunnel first? That's the stuff of legends, man. The dude's a Hall of Famer, no doubt. Let's not be silly. We know all this stuff, but man, what a storybook ending it would be for the Niners to be able to pull this thing off. Again, just because of the defense, I'm not going to get too high. I'm not. I recognize that if you've watched football for any amount of time, guys, you know that playoff football is a whole nother season. It's a whole nother animal in and of itself. I am thankful that we have a franchise quarterback in Brock Purdy that knows what it's like to win an NFC Championship game from behind. We have a Brock Purdy that knows what it's like to get hurt and lose a playoff game, sitting there on the sideline, absolutely helpless, watching the Eagles run all over you. So he's been there. He's had those experiences. He's gone to a Super Bowl. He's been in the thick of things. He's been in overtime. He's played in big games. This is not rookie Brock. This is veteran Brock. I'm confident we can do it. At this point in time, if you're asking me, David, where do you think this ends? I really feel like absolutely the Niners can beat Seattle next Sunday. I absolutely feel that way. I feel we can beat any team in the NFC playoffs. None of those teams should scare anybody. Honestly, I feel like the Bears may not even be scared of the 49ers after what they were able to do. They're probably thinking to themselves, man, we just tighten up some things. Caleb hits a few more throws. It's a win for them. So it is absolutely wide open. And I would give the 49ers a 50-50 chance of representing the NFC in a Super Bowl. No doubt. I can't sit up here and say that there's any team that... Let's just play the game. Hypothetically, let's say the Niners do beat the Seahawks Sunday. I'll have a preview show where I give my thoughts and predictions on that. I really need to see where Trent's at, see where George is at, see all the injuries that come out of this game. But let's just play the game. Niners beat the Seahawks. They're the number one seed. They get a bye week, right? So that's going to put them with a bye and playing the lower seeded team that wins or whatnot. So we have the easiest road of essentially making the Super Bowl. So what if we end up playing the Rams? I would love to see what the odds are on Rams-Niners in the NFC Championship game at home. Dead even? Niners by a point? Because it's a home game for the Niners, maybe? I'd love to see what it would be if it were Chicago. We just saw the Niners win by 4 points at home. Right? It would be a rematch where Saleh defensively could get in the lab, make some adjustments. I'll take that rematch all day long. If the Niners ended up having to play the Bears at home again, I'd give us a 65% chance. 65% chance of winning that game. So if it were the Seahawks playing the Niners, we're about to see that Sunday. But because of the fact that the playoffs are such a different animal, I have to go by the eye test. Everybody wants to get on Brock because of the eye test. How with some of his struggles last year. Okay? So, eye test. What has Sam Darnold done consistently in the playoffs? It's been bad. Sam Darnold very much will give you one as well, right? Sam Darnold's a guy that's going to give you a pick as well every single game you play, essentially. So, Niners, Seahawks in the playoffs at home. Niners favored by a field goal, I would assume. I think the one matchup that makes me really nervous would be the Eagles, just because of their offensive line and their little tush push and the way they play. They're not going to be an offense that's going back and forth up and down the field. They're going to be one of those win up front type of teams. I think that might grind down. I think that could grind down the Niners O-line and D-line really quickly. But, man, will the Eagles even make it out of the first round? I don't know. I'm not sure. The Panthers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers will also be playing in a big game, winner-take-all stakes for the division for the NFC South next weekend. And, guys, I don't think either one of those teams make it out of the first round. We'll definitely have to see what happens. I'm super excited, man. I think my heart rate is still up from watching that game. That's the first time really this season I got super animated watching a football game. That's one I really wanted us to pull out, man, just because of how well we played on the offensive side of the football. But tell me what you guys think in the comments. What do you think were the biggest keys to the Niners pulling out this win, other than my man, primetime Brock Purdy? As always, guys, I want to tell you, thanks so much, everyone, for watching. I truly appreciate the support. Like I said, drop your biggest takeaway in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe and share the podcast. It really does help out the channel. As always, faithful, take care, be blessed. Go Niners.